Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the second video in the project management series. In the first video we introduced the concept of projects and we discussed the four main properties of a project. Project scope, which refers to the product or service that is produced, its features, and all the work associated. Project time is the time frame that extends from the initiation of works until the final delivery of the end product. Project cost, the total of money paid for the resources needed, including material, labor, and equipment. And project quality, which resembles the criteria set by the client to consider the end results satisfactory. I want now to replace the term properties in the title of this slide with the term constraints. By definition, the word constraint means limitations or restrictions. Now, why would scope, time, cost, and quality be limitations or restrictions? Because a project is not complete unless all the scope is complete. If the scope of your construction project, for example, is to construct a 25-story building, then you're not done with the project unless you deliver the 25 stories. So you as a project manager, you're restricted to delivering the whole scope, nothing more, nothing less. Time is also a major constraint in projects. Because, even if you delivered all the scope but you exceeded the reasonable time, your project is a failure. In all projects there will be a window of time given to you. Even if you're the one who estimated it, you have to commit to the estimate. That's why time is a restriction too. Cost is also a major constraint, and that's quite obvious. A project costing more than it should do is not considered a successful one. Last but not least, the quality of the work to be done is also a restriction. Imagine finishing the whole scope on time and within budget, but the product of your project does not satisfy the client. Huge failure. So, what is project management? Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to the project activities to meet project requirements. Meeting project requirements should be while maintaining and balancing the four project constraints. That is, delivering the complete scope, within the planned time frame, on the budget estimated, and up to the quality expected. As a project manager, you should expect a lot of conflicts to occur between those four constraints while executing your project. That's why project management professionals like to use this triangle to represent this conflict, where quality, time, and cost are at the corners of the triangle while scope is in the center of it. The scope is placed in the center, because as said before, no matter what happens, the project is not complete unless the scope is complete. So it's kind of a fixed parameter here. The corners, however, give you some margin to maneuver. Assume for some reason your project is running late and you need to rush things in order to finish on time. You will have to either pay more money by acquiring more resources, or to sacrifice the quality of the product. Another case would be if the quality of the work is not up to expected. In this case you'll either pay more money to improve the work, or slow things down. These are two examples of the conflicts occurring during the project, and it's your job as a project manager to take the right decision each time. Few more points I would like to clarify about this triangle. First, this triangle represents the project manager's priorities, not the client's. Because what matters the most to the client is the value of the product, not its scope. That's why the approach we used in this triangle is not applicable at all times. Second, the quality we're talking about here is a statistical thing, as you will see in later videos. So when we say sacrifice the quality, this does not mean that product will necessarily be of bad quality as you're used to the term. It means that chances of this product not satisfying the client might be higher. Last thing to say is that this triangle is situational. This means that the arrangement of the priorities might differ from one situation to another. Now let's talk about the steps you follow in managing a project. You should first initiate your project to know the requirements and the constraints. This step involves a lot of meetings and data gathering, and in many cases project managers are not directly involved in it. The second step is to plan how to meet the project requirements, keeping in mind to respect the constraints. Here you should plan how to deliver the full scope of the project within the time and the budget determined at the initiation of the project. Keep in mind to plan what's necessary to guarantee the client satisfaction. In other words, quality. When planning is done, execute your project following the plan you have set. Execution involves following up the project activities in the project team. In parallel, monitor the execution of your plan by measuring the project's performance periodically, and if anything goes wrong, intervene and control the performance. After you're done, close your project, hand over the product, and make sure the client is satisfied. The 5 steps described: initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing, are the phases that each project passes through.